On the 9th of January at 4:55 p.m. I got an email. And not one of those silly spam ones from a website I subscribed to when I was like 10. No. This was a very, very special email. The email reads, "Dear Zizzy, I am pleased to send you a letter and a voucher. Looking forward to your reply. Best wishes. Sweetest person ever, Consular Office of Japan in Christchurch." I'd done it. I'd secured an interview. Well, almost. I still needed to reply and confirm, but I was halfway to my goal. The letter sent said, "Congrats, you've got an interview on this day at this time at our office for the ALT position. Dress code, business attire." Pretty much means wear a suit. So after receiving this email, I was elated, adrenaline rushing. I immediately told my parents, and then I started watching interview tip videos. Now the internet is great. You can find so many websites or forums with example interview questions, and I practiced so much with all these questions, and I felt so super prepared. My interview was scheduled for the 22nd of January, so I had time and I felt ready. This was very literally the only thing I wanted to do. Okay, I had no plans if I were to fail. So as I flew up to Christchurch the day prior, I was racked with nerves. I could not fail. I had the best worst sleep that night. I was so comfy in this massive bed, and it was like perfect temperature, but I couldn't get to sleep because I was so anxious. I was so worried. Then the next day arrived, and I spent my entire time getting ready. I had to be perfect. I then checked out of my hotel and made my way to the library where I'd wait till it was time to leave for my interview, which was at 12. Because I was so nervous, I ended up getting to the consular office for like 30 minutes early, and I met another person who was interviewing before me. She also got in, yay. And while I waited, I ended up chatting with the doorman, security guard dude. He was so chill. Shout out to him because he helped so much with my nerves. But then it was time, and I was collected by, I think she's the main jet coordinator for Christchurch. Such a lovely person, so amazing. But I was taken upstairs to the interview room where I was met with the main guy who was going to lead the interview, a person who was a previous jet and was now working for the Jet Alumni Association, Jet and someone who worked at the consulate and would take the Japanese portion. And then the coordinator who brought me up was also a part of it. Now already I'm overwhelmed. I was expecting 3, not 4 people, and they were sat oddly. Like this was the layout. You see that? A lot of making sure I was speaking to number 4, but I mean, we did all right. The first couple minutes, I completely forgot to direct my attention to her as well while I was speaking, but it's fine. So now here I'm going to tell you some of the questions each person asked. Now, they had an order. It went 1, 2, 3, 4, but throughout, mainly one would ask random questions that would follow up someone else's. So I'm just going to say all of what each person said, not entirely in order. It'll work. Trust. So we are going to start with number 1, the main interviewer. He started with basic questions about my application, making sure my information was correct, and he started asking about my teaching experience and the challenges I had and how I overcame them and what things I found rewarding. Then he asked a really hard question. What are some New Zealand picture books that represent New Zealand? I'm panicking. What do you mean? And so I answered, when I think of New Zealand picture books, I think of the Hungry Caterpillar and Harry McCleary. Then he asked how these represented New Zealand, and I panicked because I don't have a clue, like what? And I said something like, that's true, they don't really represent New Zealand, do they? Then he said, Harry McCleary does. There's various different personalities all coming together or something. Like, excuse me? How are you getting a deeper meaning from that? And then also, I disagree. Like, yeah, sure, you can get that meaning, but there's literally everywhere. Everyone's different and we all come together, but hey, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm here, aren't I? I'm here. But he was like, and wrote something down. And dude, I was beyond freaked, but I had to keep my cool and continue because this was literally like 5 minutes into the interview. So you can imagine, right? Then he asked common questions like I'd prepare for, like, what would you bring to New Zealand? What would you bring to represent New Zealand? How would I plan a lesson without help? And then he asked this at the end of the interview as like a wrap up. He asked if I am an enthusiastic person. Now, I forgot what this word meant in regards to how I could give examples. I haven't had many interviews before, and this was a what? I don't know, yes sir, let me leave odd way to end, I thought. But I said something. They seemed satisfied. I don't believe I said the right thing, but hey, it's okay. But let us move on to person number 2. So he was a previous jet and he now works for I gotta stop. And his questions super nice, super easy, slay. And so I was asked traits that make a good teacher, why I'm interested in Japan, if I travelled outside of New Zealand, and if I'd get culture shock or homesickness, how might I deal with it? So pretty basic stuff, thankfully, because it was then time for the Japanese portion. Now, I was nervous, so nervous. Like, I wanted to nail this portion, the Japanese portion, because, like, I'd studied it, I'd been studying hard on my Japanese, and I was like, yes, I can do it, slay. He's gonna ask me, and I'm gonna, it's gonna be good, it's gonna be good. So he started off easy. He just asked if we could speak in Japanese. Nihongo shabureru desu ka? I said hi, yes. And then he asked if I could give myself intro. Something like, jigo shokai onegaishimasu, or something like that. And I said, slay. I didn't. But I've been saying this for like 2 years at this point. So I had my jigo shokai, my self-introduction down locked. I stood up, gave it, slay, sat back down, and then it got hard quick. He asked me something I did not know, and I was like, yeah, sorry, I don't understand. And so then he asked, what animals I liked. Now, I don't know if he asked in Japan specific, because I said the kiwi, and he said like, I see there's no kiwis in Japan, and I nodded in agreement. Then he asked something else, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I really have no clue what you're saying. And he, in English, then said, yeah, that's all I have to ask. Brother, I was sad. I was disappointed. I was like, come on, what the hell? I studied for this. But it's okay, it doesn't matter. You, like they say, you don't need to speak Japanese to get into the JET program. I just really wanted to because I had been studying it for 2 years. But it's okay. It's time for number 4, the main coordinator. And she asked so nice, easy questions. I really didn't need to think about it. I was like, yay, thank you. And they're like super relaxing, stuff about my placement choice, how I kept in touch with friends in Japan. So nice, relaxing, easy questions, Placement wise, I said that I would like to be like in the middle of nowhere in the Inaka. But I said I put Chiba as a place because I have a lot of friends who live around here in Tokyo. So I was like, wow, it'd be cool to be able to be with them. And then it's not far from Osaka where I have more friends. But, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get Tokyo. But so after questions, then like any interview, it's time for you to ask questions. And I had lots memorized, or so I thought. So I thought. I completely panicked and I forgot everything that I had memorized. But I managed to pull one out of thin air, and it was like, if there are any other groups outside the alumni program that help promote JET in New Zealand. Which I thought was pretty slay, considering that JET didn't come and give their presentation down in my city, and I was like, slay. Then I managed one more, and I said something like, what's a common trait in applicants that help them make the most of their time and integrate into the culture? I can't remember the answer, but number one said, but it was something, no, I think he said adaptability. Yes, adaptability. And so there was just silence and me nodding like, okay, and? But no and came, and it got awkward again. Yeah. So the interview wrapped up after that. They took copies of my diploma and grades. Then I walked to a bench a block away, started crying, and called my mum and told her what happened. So that was fun. But that was my interview experience. I know some countries there's a part where you need to give a mock lesson. Fortunately, I didn't need to do that. But now for the fun part, the timeline. Now this is a huge, long wait. So my interview was the 22nd of January 2025. I didn't find out the interview results till the 4th of April. New Zealand was kind of in the middle with all the different countries finding out their results. But if you see Australia is getting theirs, New Zealand is not going to be too far behind. Now I got my placement notification on the 26th of May. And this just said where I was, my contracting organization, and I think something else. And then on the 30th of May, my school contacted me. Now this is because I am a private school JET. You will see in your placement notification if it is like a university or a school or something, you're more than likely going to be private. But if it's like the city or like municipal or something, that means you are a municipal JET, and you will not be contacted as quickly as private school placements. Why? I'm not sure. So unfortunately, you may have to wait longer than some other people. But yeah, that was my interview process. Definitely the most nerve-wracking thing I've done, but hopefully I don't need to do another interview for a few years now, so slay. But like always, any questions, reach out or check out JET related websites or get into contact with your consulate. There's so many resources out there to help you. This is a long-standing program. Now, if you are applying or just getting ready for your interview or anything, good luck. I hope all goes well and that you are all successful. But this is the end of the video, so I'll say goodbye, and again, good luck. Good luck, good luck, good luck. I believe in you all. Slay.